In the last two modules of the course, we've had a chance to spend a bit of time working with sound in a film. We've looked at how you can use synchronous sound to highlight and focus attention on the important parts of a scene. And we've also looked at the role of off-screen sound and how you can use it to motivate the drama in a cut and continue pushing the story forward in creative ways. Now, let's have some fun and put these techniques to use in a real editing demonstration. You're about to see how we can significantly affect the events and the meaning of a scene using nothing more than sound effects, a touch of music, and some relatively minor adjustments to the picture. Let's start out by having a look at part of a scene from Quentin Tarantino's film, The Hateful Eight. In case you haven't seen the film, it tells the story of a bounty hunter, played by Kurt Russell, traveling through Wyoming in the late 1800s. In tow, he's got a captured fugitive, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. They stop over at a stagecoach lodge to take shelter from a winter storm, where they end up snowed in with a group of other travelers. At this point, complications arise and chaos ensues. At one point, Kurt Russell's character, John Ruth, gathers up everyone's guns and asks one of the other men, O.B. Jackson, to go outside and dump them into the latrine. I'm going to play this 2-minute and 38-second section of the film to give you an idea of the starting point. Then, we're going to create a different version where we add some new developments to the scene using only sound. One thing I should mention is that I've upcut the scene once to make it a tad shorter just for the sake of this demonstration. All I really did was remove a bit of the conversation that isn't relevant to the narrative that we're going to be crafting here. Let's have a look.
Hand me that little bucket. OB, go to the outhouse. Take this bucket and dump it down the shithole.
Why do I gotta go outside?
Well, your jacket's already on, and I sorta kinda trust you.
So, Damagoo, I suppose this blizzard counts as a stroke of luck, as far as you're concerned. You don't hear me complaining, do you? Nope, I sure don't. Well, how about you, Oswaldo?
How about me what?
Look, considering all the things I've done for money, I ain't one to judge, but don't you feel just the least little bad about hanging a woman?
Well, until they invent a trigger a woman can't pull, if you're a hangman, you're going to hang women.
Well, hell, I guess I ain't never looked at it like that before.
When it comes to some of them mean bastards out there, it's the only thing does the job. You really only need to hang mean bastards. But mean bastards, you need to hang.
You goddamn son of a bitch! I almost died out there! I ain't ever going out in that shit! Ever again!
Okay, so that's the original scene. Now let's see what we can do by harnessing the power of creative sound editing. In the original scene, the primary antagonist is the freezing winter storm outside. When we see OB exit the front door of the lodge, the conditions look pretty harsh, with the wind howling and almost no visibility. The film cuts back to the interior, giving us a few moments with the other characters, as they're slurping their stew and trying to stay warm, discussing the idea of bringing evil men and women to justice by hanging. Eventually, we hear a few bangs on the front door, and OB bursts inside, nearly frozen. Two of the other men start by nailing a few boards onto the door to fully secure it from the blowing wind, while OB wraps himself in a bearskin and tries to get warm. Now, that's the way this plays out in the feature, but just to show you what's possible to achieve with sound, let's have a little fun. In our version of the scene, we're going to add a complication for OB when he goes outside. Not only is he going to need to deal with the winter storm, but we'll be adding a wild bear to the equation. We're going to simulate it stalking him and chasing him back inside. Of course, because a bear was never part of this scene, we'll never actually show it. Its presence will be created using only carefully placed sound effects, Foley, and music. Now, I've picked out a handful of sound effects we can use here. For the stalking and the lead up to the attack, we've got everything from stylized growls like this, to bear roars, to heavy breaths, and some stomps and footsteps in the snow. Then for the actual attack, we've got some more growls, some clothing rips, a human scream, and some wood creaks. And we've got some pounding on the door, which we took from the original scene. Alright, so we've made a plan, and we've gathered the ingredients we need to support it. Now, let's start putting together this new version of the scene. Coming up in the next lesson, we're going to begin the editing work by cutting the sound layers that will form the basis for our new moments. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.